Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2025 World Series of Poker. We have a great event for you guys today. The $25,000 buy-in heads-up championship. We have the final four players. They are battling for a $500,000 first place prize. My name is Donnie Peters. I got Tristan Wade alongside me. We got Natalie Bodie out there on the floor. We got two semifinal matches going to start. Then the winners will compete in the final, and they will play for that $500,000. There you see the four players that are remaining. Artur Martirosyan and Patrick Leonard, they are paired on the main feature table. And then we have David Chen versus Aliaksei Boika, and they are on the secondary feature table. So it's going to be either Boika and Chen or against, I should say, Martirosian and Leonard.
Let's go.
$180,000 guaranteed.
Let's fucking go, baby. Excuse my language.
You're amped up, man. What can I say?
I'm so excited. We are going to get to watch some of the top poker players on the planet battle, and there is not a better battlefield than heads-up poker. I mean, there's literally no hiding in heads-up poker. It's one-on-one. It's mental warfare. You have nothing else to go by except the two cards you're dealt and your chips to maneuver with. So I'm very excited.
This table right here, Chen on your left, Boika on your right. This is the secondary table. We are going to be focused on this match right here. Martirosian versus Patrick Leonard, a.k.a. Pads.
Good luck.
As everyone knows him. And here we go. $2.4 million for each player to start. Blinds 6,000, 12,000, so 200 big blinds deep. But as Tristan mentioned, absolutely nowhere to hide when it comes to high-stakes heads-up poker.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to see interesting strategies. I mean, we're so deep, 200 big blinds, so I imagine a lot of the strategies for the players are going to be playing a raise-first strategy from the button to hopefully thin the field from some hands that continue, but you're going to see very wide ranges play here, especially on the button, and then the big blind defense will be a little bit tighter. And just like that, you know, first hand in, Patrick Leonard with a very defendable hand and king high. Most people will be like king four, but no, in heads up, when your opponent's going to be playing 80 to 100% of their buttons, you're going to have to defend your big blind a lot. And we see Martirosian here flop two pair.
That is 40,000.
Comes with a bet of 40K.
That is 30,000.
Leonard going to come in with a raise here. We got a couple of kings for Artur.
140.
That is 140,000.
Three bet to 140 from Martirosian.
Oh, sorry. I'll get them for you. Don't worry, I got them.
Raised to 30 from Martirosian here. Notice the starting sizing seems to be similar for both players, 2.5x. Leonard flicks in the call with the queen 10. 6-4 deuce. Gutter for Martirosian.
Check. 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 Three of clubs is the burn card.
Three clubs.
Three of clubs.
Yes, I felt.
Sorry. Okay.
Test, 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 test. Testing 1, 2, 3. Tristan Wade in the building. PokerGO. Let me know.
Okay. 30,000.
All right, Tristan Wade here in the building.
I hope people can hear me too.
Yeah, I got Donnie here. Hopefully, we're getting, it's, the WSOP is just starting, so we're getting everything sorted out. We got some new equipment here, but hopefully we're good. So here, so Donnie, I'm in the
Kings
building.
again,
Let's
huh?
go, yeah.
I mean, it's just it's okay. We'll figure it out as we go. The positive thing is that this is our secondary setup. This one doesn't go out to CBS Sports and all of that, so we can avoid a little bit, or we can deal with a little bit more issues here. So I see the chat saying that they can hear Tristan. Can you also hear me? Can you hear Donnie?
20.
All right, Donnie wants to know if you can hear him. You guys say you can hear me. Can you hear Donnie? We're getting everything set up. It is our secondary setup, but it's our first time streaming this setup, so we're troubleshooting real quick. We got a great team.
All right, well, Martirosian just picks up kings every hand.
Look, so
Fun turn card here.
wow. So Leonard with a float, because he does have this kind of equity. Yeah, I'll go into this whole heads-up spiel again, but heads-up is very high variance. It's just one-on-one poker, right? So we have seen Martirosian have the best of it so far, but this could be the first hand that doesn't go his way, because we're definitely going to see a river card, and we're definitely going to see a bet here. It's just how big does he want to bet?
Check.
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Well, Martirosian checks back and gets a great turn card, or sorry, river card with the deuce of diamonds coming off to give him a full house. So even if there was any fear that Leonard might have a flush on the turn, it does not matter anymore.
Yeah, and this is the beauty. Martirosian here, this is the beauty of playing deep stacked, no limit hold'em. He's set Patrick Leonard up here beautifully with a check back with top set on the turn.
Okay.
And this is piles being put in the middle, it looks like, Donnie. Piles.
Yeah, we're going to get the count here from the dealer. 100,000 in the middle. 380,000 from Pads.
And look, all that money's going to Artur some way or another. Now, Patrick Leonard's playing a very big bet strategy where he doesn't think his opponent ever has a flush to bet to check back the turn. So he's just using his blocker here with a 0 equity hand. And I mean, there's definitely going to be a raise here, of course, with effectively the second nuts.
There are play clocks in play here. You saw Artur Martirosyan there pass one of those plaques into the dealer. He's going to take his time here before he ultimately is going to come with a raise. It's just a matter on sizing. So let's see what he comes with.
Yeah, and if you're in Artur's shoes, you think you know your opponent has a flush or nothing. You know your opponent has a flush or nothing. Now, with this size, when your opponent goes almost 4x pot, it's almost impossible to get paid here. Your opponent has to have like the nut flush potentially, but even that would feel really ugly to call a raise.
Players all in.
And he just goes for it all.
And just like that, Donnie, we had 100K in the middle, and somehow we have everything in the middle on the river.
Well, heads-up poker is a very, very special beast.
And we know Pads is never calling here. But he's going to take his time just to adjust and maybe think about, like, if there was ever a bluff. But credit Artur for his check back on the turn, because kind of an unorthodox line here, but one that's going to get him 380K.
Now, it is worth noting here that I agree with you. Pads isn't going to call here. He's just, kind of going through the motions. But he is burning a time extension, right? Because I saw that iPad went past 30 seconds. So,
yeah, this might just be for reads. Remember, this is warfare. This is heads-up warfare.
One time bank.
And you're right, he did burn a time bank there.
So I thought he would, do his tank, and then once it hits 28, 29 seconds, then he just, says fold or flicks in his cards and doesn't ultimately burn one of those time extensions, because that could prove very, very valuable at some point in this match. You only have, I believe it's 6 of them to start, so you kind of want to conserve those if you end up needing them.
Yeah, so, let me just give my spiel on heads up again. I mean, this is the purest form of poker. You have one-on-one. There's nowhere to hide.
Six.
These players are playing so deep stacked. And, you're just going to see a lot of post-flop play here and very wide ranges. So we got 2 of the best in the world. Artur, 41st on the all-time money list with 25 million in live cashes.
Oh.
Patrick Leonard, he's only got about 4 million in live cashes, but he's who knows how much money he's won online. He's one of the biggest winners online, and he's got more titles. He's one of the most decorated online players on the planet. Pads 1161.
And one of those titles that came from online, Pads won, I believe it was the Scoop Heads Up Championship last year. So, Pads certainly knows a thing or two about playing heads up. As you mentioned, Tristan, Martirosian is just an absolute killer out there. The guy plays the biggest buy-ins against the toughest competition and has had a ton of success in a relatively short period of time, too. Only kind of really been on the scene, at least the big high-stakes scene, for, I'll say, 3-4 years, something like that. And in the grand scheme of poker, that's still a very small window.
Yeah. I did a little research on him, and he's, as much as I've followed him over the years playing the high-stakes stuff, he's underrated, man. He's so underrated. How consistent he is. He just started playing in, I think, 2017. At least that's where his live results started. And wow, what a beast.
Picking up the action here on the flop, ace 8-6 with a couple of clubs. Leonard checked, and Martirosian came with 40,000.
So look, Donnie, what we're seeing is just distribution, card distribution favoring Artur so heavily so far, just with hitting flops. Even this is a great flop. 10 high, gut shot, backdoor flush draw. Like, but we're only, what, 6 hands in or something. So, you know, this will be a war of attrition, even though we see pads losing a big pot there and kind of giving away 30 big blinds. Anything can happen, but look at the stacks right here. It's 3 million to 2 million. That's a pretty big lead to come off the gates with. So we'll see how pads comes back, but again, so much variance in heads-up poker. You got to kind of really pick and choose your spots.
Very deep to start in this match. They started 200 big blinds deep, so yes, pads has lost some traction early as Artur Martirosyan has stretched out a lead, but pads is still pretty deep, so there is plenty of flexibility in the stacks. You see a couple of comments about it in the chat. The David Chen and Aliaksei Boika match is going on right now. It is on a secondary table. We'll check in there periodically as we go. We'll try and update you guys as we go, and then at some point today, maybe we have to switch the matches depending on how things play out. But you can actually see them in the back above above Martirosian back there. So we'll do our best to keep you guys informed.
So some standard heads-up procedure is the button raising a lot of hands, probably playing, you know, almost the whole deck, if not 90 to 95% of the deck from the button. And then the big blind defending quite a bit, especially with suited hands. You know, if you can make a flush, that's a really strong hand, especially one-on-one.
Yeah, and my shove.
Ace 6-4 with a couple of diamonds here. It's top pair for Martirosian. That card distribution continues to favor him.
That is 20,000.
Third pot here from Artur.
I mean, top pair and heads up is just a monster hand. And just nothing going pads way yet. But again, like Donnie said, this is a long battle. It should be, yeah, there's not much to be said, really. It's going to be, these guys are here for a long time. Unless we just see some huge collision, but it's really hard to get 150 big blinds all in pre-flop.
Yeah, it's going to take either a very, very wild, ambitious bluff that, you know, steps into the nuts or something like that, or it's just ultimately going to take a cooler. I would even say that if it does come down to a cooler, there's probably a chance they don't just go too nuts, you know. But obviously, we'll see how things go. And then the other thing to look out for when these guys are playing heads up, especially players of this caliber, is there's going to be a lot of stuff that we kind of question as audience members. Oh, why is he calling with 9 high? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Well, you just have to really press your edges in a lot of spots. Heads up, you have to really take more mediocre, weaker hands and be willing to extend them further down, you know, to a turn, to a river, possibly to showdown. And if you don't do that in heads-up poker, you're probably going to get run over, especially against somebody like an Artur Martirosyan or someone like Pads, or anyone really that runs deep in the 25K heads-up championship.
Yeah. Heads up is all about aggression, but it's also about knowing where you stand in hands, right? Sometimes you got to call down with third pair. Sometimes you got to get to rivers with ace highs and king highs and stuff. So there's a lot of maneuverability that takes place. It's not just who has the best of it or who's the most aggressive.
Leonard picks up a couple of sixes here and calls the button raise from Artur. Ace 4 deuce, which could lead to some more money getting in the middle. We got Leonard's sixes are still best. Artur Martirosyan did pick up a pair, hitting that 4. Leonard checks.
Yeah, this hand is already interesting to start because it's a heavy flop bet for Martirosyan, and Leonard actually has a value hand. He could put more chips in here as a raise and not just play his hand passively, because his opponent doesn't have to have an ace here. His opponent could do this with a 2, with a 4, with just overcards. So there is some value to raising here if Leonard so chooses.
75. 75.
And there is the raise.
75,000.
Martirosian's bet was 20K, third pot. Leonard makes it 75,000 here.
And now if you're in Artur's shoes, your opponent could raise with bluffs, like a 3x, a 5x type hand, some overcards, just like maybe a queen 10 of diamonds or like a king 9 of clubs or something. So it's kind of natural for these players to go to the turn with both of their holdings.
It is a call in position from Artur. Jack of hearts appears on the turn, 210 out there. And it's kind of fitting that this hand just happened after I gave that spiel about kind of playing more marginal hands, because these guys are, you know, obviously going to extend this one a bit with hands that you might be like, oh, well, I only have a pair of fours, I got to fold. But you really can't do that in heads-up poker.
Yeah, and Patrick here, we see him check. He knows that Artur's going to have something. How big is a something? But when he bets 60,000, we kind of know he's more geared towards, I'd say, the bottom of value hands. Now, there are going to be some interesting plays we might see from Artur, as we've already seen him check back top set. But Pads is going to be very comfortable facing this bet because he probably feels pretty confident that his sixes are good. Now, could he be pondering a check raise again for value? I don't know, Donnie. That seems a little thin, but you never know with these guys.
Pads does come with check call. The bet was right around 30% once again, so river card, 5 of clubs. The sixes remain best here for Pads. 330,000 in the middle.
And I also expect that bet by Martirosian to kind of freeze the action and get some value from any kind of draw or worse 4 maybe, or like a 2-3 type hand if Leonard has any of that stuff in his range. But we'll see what Leonard decides to do. I think this is going to go check a lot, but we'll see.
Check.
It does go check. Sixes are tabled
So
from
sixes?
Leonard.
Just can't see from here.
A rare comment from our Russian player there,
Yeah.
and they're playing at a huge table, so it's, yeah, if you notice, they throw in chips back and forth because it's about a 10-foot table out there. But yeah, nice hand there by Patrick.
Was this the first hand of that level? Did we play that level or no?
We played the old level.
So that hand took 3 minutes?
Yeah, they didn't announce the blinds yet, so
Wait a second. We're still not up?
still not up.
That's,
What?
We're up. Okay.
We're up.
he said they went up, but it has to be out.
Up now.
Yeah.
Oh no, last hand we start.
Last hand was the old
Last
level.
hand we start when it was.
Yeah, but he
no.
said they hadn't announced it, so this was going to be still 6-12.
No.
But $35.
35 is the bet.
And notice here, we do see bottom of range hands being folded. We've seen a Jack 3 offsuit hit the muck, a 7-3 offsuit hit the muck, an 8-4 offsuit hit the muck, a 9-3 offsuit hit the muck. So just understand in the heads up strategy, even though you're playing so many hands, there are still some hands that aren't worthwhile to see flops with. That's why we think of range and strategies, and we have to have cutoffs. We just don't want to just extend out and play whatever.
That is 40,000.
Okay, so we have seen the blinds go up to 16,000 big blind. And here's one of those, pretty atrocious holdings that I talked about. But it is a little connected, so we'll see how Patrick decides to play this holding, as we saw Artur fold it previously. Looks like both players are going to follow that standard of folding 8-4 offsuit. At least for now. Maybe when stacks get shallower, they'll think they can realize their equity a little bit differently with some holdings. I'm actually in the back right there, Donnie. Can I comment to the people about that?
Yeah,
In the
why
back.
not? Why not?
We are in a delay, but if you look over Patrick Leonard's shoulder in the back, I'm currently behind him back there.
It's a little inception. That's what we got going on.
Call.
First limp of the heads-up match here, Donnie. That's awesome to see.
Sorry.
And we need a longer dealer with longer arms because, I mean, like I said, why are we doing this to these guys?
Check.
5-5-4 here. One club out there notable because Martirosian does have 3 deuce of clubs.
Check.
Action checking through.
Oh, baby.
4 clubs on the turn. Fun card. Martirosian now has an open and straight flush draw, and on a double paired board like this heads up, Pads probably thinks there's plenty of value in his king high.
Absolutely. But sizing and range building is what's going to be this about. So what does Artur do? He makes a big bet, pot size bet. Now whatever, it's only 2 big blinds. So I'm sure Patrick's going to see a river. But no matter what the river card comes, I believe there will likely be a bet here. But Donnie,
6 of clubs comes home. We have a straight flush, everyone.
oh my God. And I mean, this is actually a card that brings a lot of draws complete. It completes a lot of draws, excuse me. So hands that Artur could have been bluffing with on the turn are like 6-7 or 3-6 or clubs. So when he bets here, Patrick will probably be able to find a fold.
25,000.
But notice this sizing, Donnie. He's
Right around a quarter pot.
trying to price the high cards in, saying, "Hey, look, I'm bluffing. Just call me with king high." But I think Patrick has too much hand to ever want to do anything but call here. I don't think he's going to raise as a bluff without having a club in his hand or anything like that. But straight flush for Artur, and yeah, nice way to start heads up.
Pads does give it up. Martirosian not going to show it. Martirosian has had kings twice. On one of those occasions, he made a full house when Patrick Leonard went for a big bluff of nearly 4x the pot on the river, right into that full house of Martirosian. And then there, we see Martirosian take the 3 deuce of clubs and ultimately make a straight flush. So card distribution has been a bit in his favor so far, but it is still very early in this match. There is plenty of chips, plenty of big blinds in each player's stack.
And to Artur's credit, that check back with top set got him paid 30 big blinds. So even though the card distribution is favoring him, that check back was very savvy, and it earned him a big bet, that one pot. So really interesting.
Jack 9-8 with a couple of diamonds.
Check.
So these are some of the trickiest boards to navigate heads up because they're going to hit both players' ranges more or less. So kind of natural that we see king high just check back and take some of their showdown value. Especially when you don't have a diamond and you don't have any immediate equity. You're okay just kind of checking this down if Leonard allows that. Now Leonard has a bottom of range holding. Let's see if he wants to just check this down, if that's so the option, or if he has plans to bluff a river because his opponent's kind of capped. But notice, Artur makes top pair on the river. But hands that Artur's never going to have here, like Queen 10, 10-7, 6-7. So Leonard has all this uncapped range, and that's what we saw from Leonard making a big bet for 4x the pot earlier. He might have plans to go with a huge bet here, but no, he doesn't. And now Artur can undeniably bet his top pair.
That's 80,000.
Full pot here on the end for Martirosian.
And I love Patrick Leonard. I'm going to say this. I know we talked about him in the past, but what a staple in the poker community, and what a guy to kind of model your professional life after. And I say this with all respect because him and his team around him, you know, he's got BitB staking, he's got other guy he works with, people he coaches, friends that play poker too. Their approach to poker and just having a good mindset, having good preparation, having a good routine, having a plan. A man with a plan is a dangerous man, Donnie, and he has a plan. So I love to see just his meticulousness, his kind of pace of play. Obviously, all these guys are world-class players, but you know, Pads kind of puts himself out there to really showcase what he's about, and I respect him a ton for that. And I learn a lot from him as well. And this is a big confrontation here, a king on the button raising, and Artur has a hand that he can choose to 3-bet or call with here.
152.
There is the 3-bet option from Martirosian. Kicks it up to 152,000. They are playing 8,000, 16,000 on the blinds right now. Leonard doesn't think too much of it.
I'm going
Gives
to
it
try.
And I'm assuming maybe because the we see Patrick banging the table a little bit. I'm just assuming we don't have the guys directly across each other for production sakes, for our camera angles and stuff, maybe. Instead of having them in like the 1 and 4 seat where it could be right there.
Even yesterday when they were down to the final 8, you know, when they start at the 64, right? There's 2 matches per table. That's how they got it set up.
Right.
But yesterday for the round of 8, they were still on. They were basically in seats 2 and 7, like on the complete
Like
opposite
this,
sides of
okay.
the table. But even more so, they were over here. You know, like to the left of Leonard, to the right of Martirosian. Now, those outer tables aren't as big as the feature tables, of course, with all the, you know, the cameras, the RFIDs, all that sort of stuff. But still, I mean, that's still a big distance away from each other.
Yeah. I mean, this is tough.
You almost need just a special heads-up table,
Yeah.
like for this tournament, you know. Jack 8-3 here. Martirosian connecting with the top pair. He was dominated pre-flop. His Jack 6 crushed by the King 6 for Leonard, but it doesn't matter. Jack shows up on the flop, so Martirosian vaults into the lead here.
I mean, surely their match isn't over yet, right? Why are these guys standing up?
55,000.
Donnie, is it over? Did someone win already?
Good question. Does sound like we might have an elimination early on here.
I opened to 20 or 32. He 3-bet to 160. I 4-bet to 3. I 4-bet to 350. He called. Flop came. Flop came king, king, queen, 2 clubs. He checked. I bet 140. He called, and turn was some low club. Yeah, 3 clubs. Check, check, and river was a blank. What was the river? 6 of spades. Yeah, something like that. And then he shoved for roughly 1.2 million.
Yeah. You call.
And then I called.
What'd you have?
And he had,
Okay, we can't see the cards. It looks like maybe a queen for a hero call. But yeah, David Chen eliminated, it looks like, in 4th place. Donnie, give us the details.
Well, David Chen's out. Aliaksei Boika is through to the finals. I mean, that match took 33 minutes,
Wow.
which is just absolutely incredible.
So we'll get the hand report soon, and we'll tell the fans. But look, we picked the right match to commentate heads up. Those guys, They got it all done. These guys are going to be battling all day.
Yeah, and listen, it does benefit somebody like Boika when you win. I mean, not someone like him, but in this situation, it's going to benefit Boika in that he can essentially go watch the stream. Like, he can watch these guys play, and he can take some extra time. He can relax. He can chill out. He can go get a massage. He can do whatever he wants. He's got some additional time here. Put in some more study, whatever it is. So that's kind of the benefit for.
If I was in his shoes, I would absolutely be watching this heads-up match. Maybe on mute, because what the hell do we know, Donnie? But I would totally be watching this because, you know, I'm going to be playing one of these guys. I need to see their mannerisms. I need to see how they think of the game. You know, it's that kind of stuff is really interesting. Even the hand that Artur checked back with top set. When a flush came, like that hand and picking up that vital piece of information could make or break you in the final match. This pot checks all the way down, and Patrick Leonard makes aces and kings, and he goes with a value bet, and he takes that. So again, over 100 big blinds deep. Sure, Artur has a lead, but this could go oats overnight. You like how I did that, Donnie?
I love it.
Shout out the sponsor.
I mean, oats overnight. A company started by a poker player.
Really?
Brian Tate used to play big, like high-stakes mixed games. I believe he used to play the PPC here at the WSOP. He went on to do very, very big things with oats overnight. Just an incredible
David.
product. If you're a fan of oatmeal, if you're
David,
in need of something
you
quick
won?
in the morning for breakfast,
Juju.
I mean, oats overnight is it. You know, it certainly is. It's healthy. They got a bunch of different flavor options. They got ones that are, you know, packed with additional protein, all that sort of stuff. I believe you just throw some milk into it.
145.
You leave it sitting overnight. You grab it in the morning. You're out the door. Nice and easy. That's that.
And we got Patrick Leonard throwing some milk into this pot with the ace-king of hearts. Spicing it up. And Artur with a hand that loves to play in position here. King 7 suited. It could even go for a 4-bet bluff on occasion, although it might be a little dicey. So we do see a call.
Big limp.
All right, so the first big opportunity here for Patrick Leonard, but he is out of position. But notice 300K in the middle, Donnie. Almost 20 big so far.
10-4-3 with a couple of spades. Both players missing any sort of direct connection here. Leonard does have the nut no pair hand. He's also got backdoor hearts.
Sorry for tapping you, but he's got 3 to a royal flush, Donnie. Come on,
Yes.
you got to comment.
We already saw a straight flush.
Yeah.
Okay, we already saw a straight flush once. I think we might be, our entertainment run good for massive hands might be used up. Okay.
Hey, it's the WSOP.
215.
You never know.
That is 215.
Notice the big size here. This is going to deny weak floats. And we see Artur just hit the muck right away. So that's great. That's something to pick up there. If he bets 70,000, you know, weaker hands can call and try to play in position. So he just goes for a big size there to take the pot. And that's a pretty dry flop, 10-4-3. So well played.
So I do have details now on David Chen's elimination. David Chen going out in 4th place, collecting $180,000. So it was a 4-bet pot between Chen and Boika. Chen made it 32,000. Boika made it 160,000. Chen made it 350,000. Boika calls. It comes king, king, queen with 2 clubs. Boika check calls 140,000 from Chen. Turn is the 3 of clubs, putting a 3rd club on the
38.
board. Both players
38,000
check.
is the bet.
6 of spades lands on the river. Boika took his time, used a time bank per the Poker News report here. And then he moved all in, covering Chen. Chen had 1.2 million left, thought, and then called it off. Chen had queen 9, so flopped 2 pair, kings and queens. Ultimately, that's what he had on the end. Boika, though, ace 10 of clubs for the nut flush. And Boika is through to the finals. He's guaranteed $300,000 now.
What? Oh, baby.
Yep. And we will see how things play out here and who he's ultimately going to face for the gold bracelet and $500,000. So that is the report courtesy of PokerNews.com.
Really interesting hand, although we only got a few big blinds in the middle here, Donnie. Both players flop a pair. Patrick checking back one of his weaker top pairs with not a lot of added equity, right? He's got Jack 5 off, no spade, so he doesn't want to bet the flop and get check raised because he can't improve so much. But now he's going to start betting, I believe. No, okay, I'm proven wrong once again, but I don't play heads up like these guys. But in this node where you check top pair twice, you can have very big bets on rivers when check 2. So I imagine Patrick hand is worth at least pot when check 2 on the river here. Now he could also have a king in this instance, but let's see what size he chooses to go with, because I don't think he's going to be checking anymore. And I'll eat my shoe if he checks back here. Hopefully I'm not wrong, Donnie.
That is 60,000.
So we see 2/3 pot. Oh, a little more. 60 into 76. And Martirosian here with a pure bluff catch. He could assume that his player might have some showdown value since they checked twice, but hands that Leonard might check twice with are a 4, maybe a 7 himself, but Artur's going to pay this off.
That pot there gets Leonard back over 2 million in chips as he tries to kind of claw back and narrow that gap once again. Both players started with 2.4 million. The large majority of this early portion of the match has gone Artur Martirosyan's way.
And look, we got an Octopi Poker
we actually have
ad
no
right
clock
here.
anywhere.
Awesome. I've used
There's
Octopi
no
Poker.
clock on any
Really,
screen.
really awesome tool. We got Steven
Button
Chidwick
on
there.
me, I think.
Yeah,
Who's,
go ahead.
no,
One of the best.
Who's
one
one
of
of
the
the best?
absolute best. If
Yeah.
you, I mean, I'll tell you this: if you want to get into the Octopi Poker Discord, which you can find by going through octopipoker.ai, their website, Steven Chidwick is in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like put a question in, maybe you tag him, he will respond. He is very, very active in the Discord. So that's like, I mean, to have that sort of access to a mind like Steven Chidwick is simply incredible.
Yeah.
Right? That on the surface alone. And of course, Octopi has great features. They got a lot of awesome study tools and everything. But I mean, come on. You get to talk to Steven Chidwick. Ask him about a hand. Be like, hey, you know, I noticed the solver said this. What do
Will
you
we get
think?
a
I
clock?
did this. You know, and maybe he gives you an answer. That's
It'd be
tremendous.
good to have.
Also, you can make an account on Octopi Poker for free. So go to octopipoker.ai to sign up for free, and you'll get to access some of the tools on the site for free. So, I mean, that's awesome. All right, notice we got Martirosian raise the 9-4 offsuit. So very, you know, reaching towards the bottom of the deck here, but we see it enter his range. And then we see Patrick Leonard defend Queen 8 off. Pretty standard.
Check.
And the blinds are up now too, 10, 20K.
Check. Check.
This checks all the way to the river. Martirosian with one of the middling hands in his range. You could imagine a 3 or a 4 in general. Probably get to the river here.
Check. Check.
Queen.
4.
We want to see the other card. Show the 9-4, Artur. That is kind of valuable information just to see how wide your opponent will extend on the button. But obviously, maybe things change throughout the course of the match.
They're going to give us a clock, or
That's it. Yeah.
So it sounds like the tournament clock
Why
might
you
have
need
gone
clock
down.
so much?
huh?
Why you need clock so much?
I sometimes leave a decision down to the clock, not to me, you know, potentially.
Randomize?
Maybe.
Randomize? My Russian accent isn't as good.
I mean, that is, I know that's small, like kind of, you know, some small talk there, but
Have a lot of different screens.
it is interesting that Leonard is
45.
admitting to randomizing,
45,000 is
and
the
then
bet.
Artur's like kind of picking up on that. Okay, like you're going to randomize. Not that you can necessarily lead into it all that much, but you know, worth pointing out that they're kind of willing to share that.
And
What was that?
to your point, Donnie,
Okay.
a lot of players at this level who follow a GTO strategy do like to randomize.
After this level, we're gonna stay on the feature or no? Because they finished
We will play on the feature until the end, I
till
think.
the end. At the end of level, can we take 1 minute break at the end of
Yeah, yeah.
level, just
Yeah.
to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, when you play a GTO strategy, GTO means balance. If anyone wants to know what game theory optimal means, in a sense, it means balance, balance, balance. How can I balance where I'm not exploitable? And a lot of decisions come down to maybe doing one thing or the other. And so you will see some of the best players decide to randomize their decisions because they know the best decision to make, and it gets them to 2 buckets or maybe 3 buckets. And it might be between checking or betting.
Call.
So that's where randomizing really comes in when you know the best options. If you just want to randomize, like should I bet fold or raise or whatever, like that's probably not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, and they also might randomize sizes too. They're like, okay, I definitely want to bet here. I'm going to have a small size. I'm going to have a large size. Okay, I'll look at the clock. Oh, it's an odd number. Okay, I'm going to go with the large size this time. Next time, I'm going to go with the small size,
Sorry?
that sort of thing.
Okay, Artur with the Queen of Hearts here. That's kind of relevant.
Yeah, backdoor hearts, backdoor Broadway. Leonard also has the 10 of hearts in his hand in addition to being connected with that 7, 100,000 in the middle.
So I was going to say, if Artur comes with a big bet,
100,000.
which he did here, Donnie, notice, this is immediately uncomfortable for Patrick Leonard because Martirosian is already taking advantage of his range advantage here, coming out with a large bet. So he's saying, look, I have all the ace kings, pocket aces, pocket kings, ace queen, ace jack, all the good stuff. So on these board textures, notice on other ace high board like ace 6-4, we saw a small bet. Now we see a big bet. So if Patrick didn't have a heart here, let's just say he had like 7-8, no heart, he'd probably just fold. But since he has that backup equity, he proceeds.
And it's a pretty clean turn card here for Leonard, the deuce of clubs.
Nothing's changed, but
Check.
Martirosian's strategy is probably going to remain the same, where he's going to put more money into this because he started like that. So he blocks ace queen, he has a high heart, so okay, nope. So he does cautiously check, and now he makes the best hand. Now if you're in your pad shoes, right, pad's going to bet here with maybe an ace, maybe he checks an ace sometimes too, but his value bets probably come from an ace mostly.
This river queen of diamonds vaults Martirosian
Check.
into the lead. Check, check. Leonard's going to see the bad news that he was ahead on the flop, but Martirosian came home on the end. So Leonard going to dip back below
What's he
2
said?
million in chips.
Okay, so
Huh?
It
interesting.
says there is no break.
We can take a break.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see.
I think it says on the structure or something break, but it says it's gonna run over. They'll stop it for sure. Right.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's awesome watching the world's best because
Thank you.
we really do see, some interesting play, whether it's checking back hands that you think might bluff or
45.
checking back value hands.
45,000 is the bet.
I'm going to learn a lot, Donnie. Let's just say that. I'm going to learn a lot today.
Check.
Leonard in position here after raising pre-flop. Notice the sizes have changed. We're now closer to a 2x now, playing 100 big blinds deep. We saw an open to 45K. I imagine as stacks get shallower, we see closer to 2x. But there should still be some deviation, I'd say, from between 2 to 2.5x. But who knows? Maybe we see some.
Live stream, we can't just stop the break.
If we need to pee, I'm not going to pee on
Yeah.
the stream, you know.
Leave?
Yeah, we're going to leave, yeah.
Okay, but I can't stop the clock.
Up to you.
Yeah, you don't need to stop the clock.
Okay, I just want, this is what I'm saying.
It will
We
be
play for
fast.
4 hours, you know, I'm so old, I can't hold it in that long anymore. 15 years ago, maybe.
All right, as the players chat about a possible break, or maybe not a break, who knows, know that you can head over to playpokergo.com and get in on the action for some free online poker. No deposits, no risk, just pure poker action. They got ring games, they got tournaments, they got sit and goes as well. Compete against players worldwide and sharpen your game. Play now for free at playpokergo.com. Available on web, iOS, and Android. Again, that is playpokergo.com.
Where do you guys get this music?
I don't know where they get it. I've never heard that one. Some of them I've heard before. You know, after
Yeah.
doing this for a while, they kind of repeat the same ones. But that one I've never heard before.
Yeah, that's a new. Look, I got some music, guys. If you guys need to upgrade, let me know. I got some. We can make some music. That's.
I don't know. The more
catchy.
the more wacky it is, the more somebody might be like, oh, what's that? And like look at the screen.
Fair.
All right, we got a couple of big hands
Oh,
here.
this is a big hand and a big flop, Donnie.
Yeah, ace queen versus king queen.
Notice
3-bet pot, jack 10-10 rainbow.
20 bigs in the middle already. Let's see how these experts navigate. Now,
What is 80,000?
notice a small bet here by Mr. Leonard. Now, in the grand scheme of ranges, both these players kind of have middle of range that's good enough to showdown. You know, king queen might just take their equity here, but could have plans for bluffing. And ace queen, obviously,
320.
with a ton of equity as well.
320,000 is the bet.
Leonard came with 80,000, and Martirosian fires back with a raise to 320,000. Action back on pads now.
So Artur playing his hands with overcards and straight draw here aggressively. So his hands that are bluffing are going to be like queen 9 of diamonds, queen 8 of clubs, queen king, obviously, and then he's going to have a 10. He could also maybe make this raise with like ace jack or something, but that's kind of how his range should be bucketed here.
Leonard makes the call, and the 9 of clubs comes in on the
Wow.
turn. Martirosian makes a king high straight.
Wow. And now notice Leonard up and down along with the ace of clubs.
Leonard first to act here.
If you guys do decide to do that, could you give me a heads up?
More than $1 million in the middle.
After this hand, please.
Hey. Check.
Leonard comes with a check.
Look, 1.5 million back for Leonard, 1 million in the middle. Artur could go for a small bet, or we've seen him trap before. He could check back this turn, Donnie. Now he knows Leonard has something.
$675.
675,000.
Martirosian coming with around 60-65% pot here, 675K.
I think Leonard's savvy enough to know that king queen is in Artur's range, although Leonard has a queen in his hand himself. But this is very troublesome. This is a very uncomfortable spot with ace queen.
Leonard does make the call. This pot is now up to 2.37 million, and Leonard has less than 800K behind. Five of clubs on the river.
Wow, I don't know if the ace of clubs is gonna, you know, make a difference here, Donnie. Maybe Leonard saying, hey, if I have the best hand and Artur's bluffing, it will go check, check. But let's see what Leonard decides to do here. Surely 800K into 2.4 million is not enough to get Artur to fold a straight. Ooh, looks like Pats is getting, you know, thoughts of, you know, leading here for 700K. Maybe he wants to leave himself some chips back. How likely is it that Artur just gives up if he was bluffing? But what does Artur have to bluff with, right? If he's raising the flop with queen 8, he made a straight. If he's raising it with 8-9, he made a pair. So if he has ace-jack, he's still pretty good. But maybe Leonard knows better than I on what bluffs might extend down for Artur here. If we have like some ace-8 of diamonds or something else that just enters a pot, like 7-8, which all, you know, kind of connect on the 9.
Leonard does land on a check. Action now on Martirosian.
Martirosian.
Players all in.
There is the jam from Artur.
Martirosian getting the best of this heads-up match. I think those were plaques times
Yeah.
that he owed. Okay.
He did use some time extensions, tanking before checking here. So notable because now he only has 3 left for this decision.
Yeah,
And again, you know, you might be looking at this one being like, well, he just has ace high. I mean, ace high on a paired board in heads-up poker isn't like the stone worst of it, especially against somebody like Martirosian, where Pads knows if there are bluffs to be found, Martirosian will likely find them and then take it one step further, pull the trigger when he does find them. So that's always the tricky spot when you play against somebody who is extremely capable.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to find a whole lot of bluffs that don't connect, you know, that raise the flop and don't connect on the turn. You know, the natural ones would be like 7-8 with a backdoor, 8-9 with a backdoor, and then some overcard stuff like king-9. You know, he has to have like king-9 of diamonds, but these are all value hands now. But Patrick knows that there's no way his opponent would bet a 9 on the river now, so you can exclude that. But what I'm saying, Donnie, is, you know, a lot of the bluffs on the flop connect with the 9 is all I'm trying to say. I can't think of many. It has to be like the ace-8 of diamonds or something, like, you know, the ace-8 of hearts. And great fold there by Patrick Leonard while he's going to run to the bathroom too.
Leonard does give it up, and I do think that it was a pretty legitimate tank there on the end because Leonard doesn't have a lot of time extensions, and he used 2 more of them there. So I don't think he's just going to blow through them super quickly and then not have any additional time later on to think when he's going to have some really tough spots against Martirosian. So I think he was genuinely thinking about that with the ace high.
Yeah, and look, maybe some of the more natural bluffs that I'm not thinking about are like queen 7 of diamonds, queen 6 of hearts. Like maybe there is just some one overcard stuff that's trying to attack Patrick's ace highs and stuff. You know, I'm not as versed as heads up as these guys are, so I'm sure that's a rightful tank by Mr. Leonard. Because that would surely, you know, that's one hand that would keep bluffing, right? Once you turn equity with the queen with no showdown, you probably would keep bluffing. But, you know, you really got to get down in someone's range. They called a 3-bet, and then they're raising your flop bet. So the ranges get a lot more consolidated in that node.
70 is the bet, 70,000.
So notice the strategy now for Leonard has shifted some. He is a bit shorter, so he opts to come in from the button with a limp. Artur does hit him with the raise, and Leonard puts that in the muck. We see Pads quickly up out of his seat. He's running to the bathroom. Looks like Artur is gonna take a moment himself as well. But that's fine, because that's gonna allow us to just kind of chill back. gather our thoughts here. This is the final match before we get into the final of the 25K heads-up champion. Earlier, we saw our Aliaksei Boika take out David Chen. That match lasted only about 30 minutes before Boika was ultimately able to seal the deal. We got some new music, which means we got a new promo. For all the golf fans out there, check this one out. Splash Sports is giving you a shot to win a free round of golf with John Daly and Rick Gaiman. Just enter the John Daly Memorial Tournament contest for your chance to win. There's $25,000 in cash prizes, plus you can win a chance to tee it up with a legend. Just head on over to splashsports.com. Get in there before the contest sells out. And those contests on Splash Sports, they sell out pretty quickly. So act now, act fast if you want a chance to win some big bucks and then also hit the links with John Daly. And we are going to hear from Natalie Bodie now.
I spoke to David Chen after his exit from this event. He noted that probably in this field he has the least amount of live tournament experience. And this was a milestone for him, not beating his best live cash that he set in September, but very close. And it's his best World Series of Poker placement and score up to this point. But I specifically wanted to talk to him about the difficulty of this event. Obviously, it's a grueling couple of days to just get to this point. He noted some of the major differences and challenges for this event are specifically adapting to the player that you're going to be heads up against, mentally keeping your composure. He noted that it's a bit different from other tournaments where maybe you can sit out of the action, you can observe others playing. He said that he had to really adapt mentally and that in the future he would maybe want to put a little bit more time into his opponent and getting to study. But overall, he takes away from this that it's another step for him and definitely building his poker resume. Guys.
Thank you for that, Natalie. Appreciate you checking in on the players. David Chen has become quite popular amongst those that follow the PokerGO Tour, aka the PGT, of which this is a PGT qualifying event. It is the first PGT qualifying event of the 2025 World Series of Poker. 300 PGT points up top for the winner in this one. Pads has been performing very well on the PGT, and if he goes on to win this event, which would ultimately mean a comeback against Artur Martirosyan, then he would move up to, I believe, 7th place on the PGT
I'm happy
leaderboard.
to go. We're here. I just didn't think
We're ready.
You guys can hear more or find out more about the PGT on pgt.com. See the leaderboard, the schedule, recaps, news, all that good stuff.
I will keep my chips so you can count them. I'll keep this in a 5 always, okay?
It's okay. You have around 800.
Yeah, about a little bit less here. It's 25K.
Just like that, we got Patrick Leonard playing 30 big blinds, heads up. Artur with the rest, which is, what is that, 160 bigs? No, I think my math's off there, but no, I think it's right.
Blinds are up now, 10K, 25K.
Notice Artur playing limps as well. Donnie first limp we've seen from him.
10-6-4. The queen high holding up so far.
Check.
Leonard comes with a check.
Jack high with a 3 here, 3, 4, 6. Jack of hearts maybe seems like a good one to start betting.
That is 50.
50K full pot from Martirosian. Leonard's out of the way. And with that, let me remind you guys to please subscribe to the PokerGO YouTube channel. Also, like the video. We haven't even hit 500 likes yet, guys. Like, I mean, come on. I would love to hit at least 1,000 on this video, so if you are watching and you have not hit that thumbs up on the PokerGo YouTube channel, then please do smash it with everything that you got. I mean, break your mouse. I don't really care. Let's go.
Smash the button with a hammer if you have
Yeah,
to.
come on. Let's go.
But no, we got Donnie manning the comms, so we appreciate everyone for tuning in. Chat scrolling, he's watching. And we see more guys playing heads up and limping. Two pretty good hands here going to the flop.
Queen 9 of hearts for Leonard. King 5 of diamonds for Martirosian. 10-10-6. 1 diamond, 2 spades.
Check.
Another diamond here on the turn, favoring Martirosian.
I feel like this is probably a good spot for Artur to check, as we see him do, because you can just use your hand as a bluff catcher. You can imagine that 10s and 6s with a king is probably best right now, but when you turn the diamonds, you would let your opponent stick in with some other crap.
Ace of diamonds on the end. Artur ultimately makes the nut flush here.
And look, 2 pair on the board with the best kicker. If neither player has a piece, they'd be playing the board here.
Check.
But Artur with a
Flush.
sneaky check.
Check, check. Martirosian announces a flush, and he's going to win this one.
And look, this is part of heads up here, Donnie, too. When your opponent's just getting the better distribution, you got to weather the storm. We've seen Patrick do his best so far, but how can he recover? It's just got to be one hand at a time. And life's great if you're Artur Martirosyan here. Got a 5-1 chip lead. Over 5-1, but we'll just call it 5-1.
Raise to 50.
It's almost a 6-1 chip lead. And Leonard with some much needed pocket rockets to the rescue. Will he go for a slow play, or will he come with a smaller 3-bet here?
So after seeing a couple of button limps from these players, Martirosian did raise this one, 50K. Leonard comes with a 3-bet, makes it 130. Martirosian out of the way, and Leonard takes it. For those wondering, PokerGo's WSOP coverage for 2025 is going to be on PokerGo.com. You get everything on if you're a PokerGo.com subscriber. There are select feeds that go through to the YouTube channel for free. But if you want everything, PokerGo is where it's at. You can watch everything. That does include daily coverage of the WSOP main event. I believe the first couple of days might be free on the PokerGo YouTube channel for the main event, but the later stuff, when it gets serious, that's all going to be on PokerGo, so it does pay to become a subscriber.
Notice ace-5 off into a checking range at 30 bigs effective. If this was shorter stacks, we probably just would have seen an all-in from Artur.
10-7-4, Leonard flopping an open-ended straight draw here.
I say shorter stacks around 20. That probably would have been a standard all-in. But Leonard with an up and down straight draw, yup. And
25K minimum bet here from Leonard. Apologies for stepping on you,
No,
sir.
you're good. I was just going to say Artur's hand's really under-repped with an ace high in the hole. He also has 2 to a flush, now 3 to a flush. Excuse me, 4 to a flush now. So kind of natural for him to continue past the flop. And now Patrick's entering a little muddy territory because he only has 9 high, still has an up and down straight draw, but the board's getting a little dicey. So how's he going to proceed?
150,000.
With an overbet, Donnie.
150 from pads, comes with the overbet, and it prompts a quick fold out of Martirosian. I got Fred all in the YouTube chat, says, I'm watching PokerGo and on chat on YouTube. I mean,
Okay.
that takes some skill, but I will also say to Fred, PokerGo does have chat. I see plenty of people in the chat. I see Meta World Baby. I see Predictable. Moderator Russell is over there on the PokerGo chat. So PokerGo.com does have its own chat.
Now, there also might be some strategies at play here for Artur with such a big chip lead.
50,000.
Be interesting, you know, is he going to try to hold on, or is he going to play, you know, stay aggressive?
Another raise here on the button from Martirosian with queen deuce off. Leonard finds ace 9.
All options on the table here for Patrick. I mean, 30 big blind all in here is not out of question either.
All in.
Players all
And
in.
there is the jam from Leonard. Quick fold from Martirosian.
Some people might say, Tristan, what are you talking about? 30 big blinds all in. Look, we're playing heads up. Artur's raising the button with almost any 2 cards. So at this stack depth, it's valuable to just pick up 4 big blinds that are out there.
Yeah, that ace does interact in terms of blocking the premium hands that would have you dominated. You know, ace 10 plus, ace jack, ace queen, ace king, stuff like that.
And believe it or not, you can get called by worse hands there.
Yeah,
If
king,
Artur,
queen suited.
King, queen suited, king, queen off, I think is going to call 30. I think you're going to get called by king, jack suited, maybe queen, jack suited even. You're going to get called by some pairs you flip against too, obviously, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s.
And pads might deem, you know, the ace 9 off to be kind of tricky to play out of position should you just come with a call, especially against somebody as capable as Artur. And then if you want to take the other option, maybe you come with a non-all-in 3-bet. Well, what if you get jammed on? What if he calls in position? You know, so he's kind of thinking big picture, and he says, listen, at the end of the day, if you got it here, but my chips are in the middle.
Yep.
That is 30.
Small ball poker being played here with a limp and a small bet.
So Leonard fighting back here. He's up to almost 900K again. Artur has dipped back below 4 million in chips. The other match with David Chen and Aliaksei Boika, that match is done. Only took about 32, 33 minutes. It was a 4-bet pot. It was 2 pair for Chen. It was the nut flush for Boika. The money got in on the river. Boika was the one shoving with his nut flush. Ultimately, Chen called it off, and he was eliminated in 4th place, taking home 180K. And Boika then moved on through to the final match. He's awaiting the winner of this one. Boika has locked up $300,000. First place in this tournament. Of course, the coveted WSOP gold bracelet, along with $500,000. Both players connecting with a pair here. Martirosian's got top pair with his ace. Leonard has a pair of 9s.
And it's a tricky, tricky spot. Martirosian limping the button with an ace. How much is that going to register into Patrick's mind? Is he going to be thinking right here, Artur's going to have a lot of limps with aces in his range? We'll see. But obviously, Leonard not going anywhere here.
Leonard does check call. The bet of 25,000. 4 on the turn gives Martirosian 2 pair.
Easy game. Seems like every other hand, Artur's just got something pretty valuable.
Yeah, and every time Patrick Leonard tries to kind of like, he picks up a hand, he picks up aces, you know, he makes something, he kind of starts like, it looks like he's going to fight back or claw back, and then all of a sudden, no, Artur's just going to, you know, smash the flop, smash the board, and keep control of this match.
Yeah, even the spot Patrick had him hurting with the ace-queen versus king-queen, just drills it against him on the turn.
175.
And notice
Overbet
this.
here, 175 into 100.
Okay, so it looks like Artur's trying to play for stacks here, potentially. I'm a little intrigued by this bet because I don't know how much action you're getting away. You know, how much action are you discouraging from continuing if your opponent has a 7 here or just a 9? But we do see Patrick, again, maybe questioning how many aces are in Martirosian's range for limping the flop. But notice Patrick has a 9 of spades, which might block.
Jack of diamonds on the river. Leonard's got 657,000 behind. There's 450 out there. Should Martirosian come with a jam here, it would kind of be similar to how he bet on the turn. So to Tristan's point about trying to get all the money in here.
We have new poker terms. The poker term of the year is geometric. So it's like, how can I bet in a geometric sizing where I can get all the chips in? And even though you might say, Tristan, well, he's got 660, there's 450. There's, you know, if you basically have one big bet over one street, that almost sets up a lot of stacks to get all in at some point. But geometric sizing might be like 3x pot, and then you get to have more. So we saw 175% pot on the turn, which leads to whatever this is, 175% pot bet on the river.
Leonard does give it up, and I don't believe Leonard has any time extensions left. So any decision he makes, he's going to have to make it very efficiently.
Hey, that could work out for you. Maybe you just get to play on instincts and trust your gut,
650.
and you don't get to overthink.
Sorry?
650.
Thank you.
Martirosian right back up over 4 million. Leonard's got a little bit over 650,000 remaining.
And if you guys hear the squeaking, that's just Patrick Leonard in his chair. You see the mic dangling down on his hoodie right there.
Couple of 9s here for pads. Stacking them up.
Too strong.
I know I was surprised, but I saw him stacking them up. I was like, what's he doing?
Yeah, I was with you. I was like, there's no way he's all in here. This is just, that would be too fast of a play. So we see just a min raise with 2 9s. It's just, 9s is a monster of a hand, right? Heads up. It's just a monster of a hand.
Martirosian comes along with Jack 7 offsuit. Queen 10-6, all clubs.
Leonard doesn't like this flop whatsoever, but there's some ideas here. You just have small bets with a lot of your range, but a check also could be fine here without having a club in his hand.
Check, check to the ace of diamonds on the turn. 100,000 is out there worth fighting for. Leonard's 9s are best, but somewhat of a scary board out there.
Yeah, Artur really with a jack high with no showdown value might want to start bluffing here. He's got the straight draw, also has a club.
Overbet on the turn from Martirosian, 150,000 into 100. Leonard says, I cannot continue, and gives it up. Leonard's stack shrinking a bit further, down to around 600K as Artur Martirosyan continues to just extend his lead in this match. It really has been all Artur Martirosyan since the first deal of the cards today. He's made a full house with pocket kings. He's had pocket kings twice. He had a straight flush.
Oh, yeah.
He had a turn straight that you referenced not too long ago when he had the king queen. He came from behind against the ace queen of Patrick Leonard. So
he's made the nut flush that just got checked all the way down.
It's not easy to play against Artur Martirosyan. I don't know how you can beat him if he's running like this, right? It's like not only are you an incredible player, you're just going to catch all the cards. Like, this is just not fair.
Yeah, it really hasn't been fair yet. And trying to say his damn name, Artur Martirosyan, it's like a tongue twister in itself. But I'm getting used to it.
We got some connectivity here on the 8-6-5. Martirosyan's got bottom pair backdoor clubs. Leonard's got an open-ended straight draw.
Check.
Limped pot. Leonard does check. And look at this.
Another 5 on the turn.
He's just running insane. you know, normally you don't even hit the flop with these kind of hands, with any hand, right? Like any unpaired hand is not always going to connect, but we just see Artur smashing the deck hand after hand. But action on Leonard with
Check.
king high and a 7. He says, you know what? I'm going to take some of my king high showdown value, hopefully to the river, and check it over to Artur. And Artur surely is not going to keep slow playing now. I've been wrong before.
That is 75,000.
75K here. 1.5x pot.
And the other idea here with these bigger than pot bets is he should have bluffs. We haven't seen him have any bluffs, but he should have bluffs. So Leonard might feel compelled to stick around with king high and an up and down straight draw is kind of my point to that.
Four of clubs comes in. Finally, some good news for Patrick Leonard. He does make a straight here. Now it is a paired board, although, you know, it's not as easy to make a full house all the time when you're playing heads up. But also benefiting Leonard here is that Martirosian does have a 5. You know, this isn't just an ace high hand or a one pair hand. You know, this is trips for your opponent.
So no leading here by Patrick. Artur, surely his next best hand to a straight is trips. So does he want to throw that in a value bet bucket?
Well, he's reaching.
That is 150,000.
200,000 in the middle, 75% pot from Martirosian, value of 150K. Action now on Leonard.
What do you think we're going to see here, Donnie?
Jam.
Right? You got 500K, you're facing a 150K bet, you got a straight, there's nothing else here to do but go all in. Yeah, you just hope your opponent doesn't have a full house, doesn't have 7-9.
Players all in.
And there is the jam. And it's a quick fold from Martirosian.
Look, Artur basically said, look, my hand's too strong to not bet, but I know that if Patrick shoves here, he's probably got something better. And he doesn't even think. He's not even thinking that Patrick could be bluffing there or miss spades or anything. He just folds. So, you know, we're seeing two world-class players here go after it. And Donnie, there is going to be no quit in Patrick Leonard. This, you know, he's here for the long haul. If he has to grind it back out, he's going to grind it back out.
Yeah.
Leonard finds 2 kings now.
All right, we've kind of maybe, are we out of limping territory yet? Playing 35 deep? Probably not.
50.
But we do see a min raise.
6-5 off for Martirosian. He does defend.
And just like that, the blinds go up next hand too. I mean, what are they, 30-minute blinds heads up?
I think they're quicker
20,
than that.
20
yeah.
minute? Yeah, okay.
Queen 7-7. Martirosian pretty much whiffs entirely. Leonard still well out in front here.
Could slow play this. Your aces definitely want to slow play on this texture sometimes. Your kings, not as much, but I think they might want to sometimes.
25,000.
Quarter pot gets a quick fold out of Martirosian.
Next hand, 500 small blind, 1,000 big blind, 1,000 big blind in. 500,000 next hand.
I mean, if Patrick gets back up to 2 million chips, it could be, you know, it could just give that confidence and that momentum back to him in a big way. Obviously, we're far removed from that point. But I'm just saying, you know, Donnie, is the more he hangs around and builds, the less comfortable I feel if I'm Artur.
If you are just joining us, welcome to the final day of the $25,000 heads-up championship here at the 2025 World Series of Poker. My name is Donnie Peters. I got Tristan Wade alongside of me. The other semifinal match that was between David Chen and Aliaksei Boika only lasted about 32 minutes or so before Aliaksei Boika punched his ticket through to the final. So we are watching this match here between Patrick Leonard and Artur Martirosyan. Martirosyan with a big lead. The winner of this one will move on to face Boika for the $500,000 first place prize.
Check.
Appreciate everyone who is tuning in. We did just pass 500 likes on the YouTube video. I still want us to get up over 1,000, so if you have yet to hit the like button on the YouTube video, please do so. Let's go. Let's get us up to 4 figures.
What's a 15?
Oh, and while we're at it, whether you're watching on
Reds?
PokerGo or on
Just I have
YouTube,
no Reds.
both of them have chat functionality. Let us know where you're watching from. I would assume we have a very, very global audience, but always do want to check in on where people are watching from. So drop your location. Let's hear it.
30.
Yeah.
Cool.
Call. Call.
Leonard going to limp in here. Do note the blinds are up to 15,000, 30,000. I see Montreal from Michael Boyle. We got Dublin,
135.
Ireland. We got the Philippines. We got Chicago,
55.
Ontario,
75.
Florida.
What's your bet?
A raise here from Martirosian makes it 135,000. Jimmy Bluffett tuning in from the Wynn Pool just up the road.
Oh, baby.
Is there sun out today, Jimmy? When I drove in, it was pretty cloudy. So Leonard's in there with the 8-7 off. He is in position on this hand. He started it with a limp. Martirosian came with a raise, and Leonard called 9-8-6 with a couple of diamonds.
So very nice hand here. This is showing heads-up strategies at its finest. Leonard playing limps, Martirosian taking a bottom of range hand and coming with a big raise. So his range is basically going to be top of range and bottom of range, and that's why you see Leonard continue with a 7-8 offsuit here, playing in position, knowing that against a hand like Jack-3 offsuit, he's in pretty good shape. And he connects really well with this flop, Donnie. You know, if you just had an 8, you might want to check back, but when you have an 8 with the up and down straight draw, you're happy to bet that equity and continue forward with it.
And there is the bet to 50,000. Now you might be thinking, you know, why did Martirosian not continue after raising pre? I think Martir just knows that this texture is just all in the wheelhouse for a limp call from Leonard.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, he would have been looking to bet like ace-high boards, king-high boards, more static boards rather than connected middling stuff. And look at that. Hey, what was a 6-1 chip lead, 7-1 chip lead is now getting down to 3.5 to 1.
Yeah, Leonard getting close to getting back up over $1 million. Both players began with 2.4 million at the time. That was 200 big blinds each. Of course, levels have gone up quite a bit since then, so stacks are a little bit shorter. They are effectively playing Leonard's stack, which is right around 33 big blinds right now.
60.
Ooh, baby, 2 10s, heads up. 3-bet incoming. How can we get Artur to step in it here?
$200.
200 is the amount of the 3-bet from Leonard. Martirosian gets out of the way, and with that, Leonard is back up to 7-figure territory.
It's got to feel good. You were as low as 600K. Granted, it's only whatever 14 bigs that you've come upon, but that's over the course of an hour. So it's always nice to just win pots. And I mean, these guys are world class, Donnie, so I don't even know if I should bring up comments like this, but how will Artur manage having Patrick on the ropes?
No clock, no nothing.
Yeah, Bob. Bob, out of the way.
If Patrick starts to come back, will we see any frustration? You know, we saw him asking for counts, chip counts. Like, you know, if I have someone, if I'm 4.4 million and they only have 600K, that might be playing into my psyche. You can't think it's over until it's over. So, you know, these guys are world class. They're probably not that, you know, fragile in their psyche. But look, if we see Patrick get back to 2 million, who knows? Things have been going so good for Artur.
Tristan's dancing. We got new music.
It's the wind pool music.
Today's PokerGO live stream is brought to you by True Classic, the only shirts we trust to look sharp and feel even better. Whether you're grinding on the felt or heading out for a night, True Classic's fit is next level. Affordable, comfortable, and built for real guys. Just head over to trueclassictees.com. Upgrade your wardrobe
I like
today.
that music. That's good music.
There you go. Well, I like True Classic tees. I got a lot of them. They are really, really good, really, really cool. And they don't just have t-shirts. Head on over to trueclassictees.com. They got everything for men.
Now, question: wasn't that started by an ex-poker player too?
I know the one of the founders, Ryan, plays a bit of poker.
He played a bit. Okay, I knew there was some connection to poker industry there. That'd be awesome if it's just all the sponsorship
I'm
bucks.
gonna keep my blinds in front of me. When I bet, I will give them to you. Okay?
Yep, thank you. You guys want me to turn the volume up on this?
Pardon?
Do you want the volume up on this?
No.
Or do you want me to announce for 10 seconds?
Just nothing, if that's okay with you. We can see it.
5 is good.
Huh?
5 seconds is good.
5 seconds announced?
Yeah.
So Patrick saying, "Look, I don't need any commentary from you." Artur saying, "I'd like a 5-second warning."
For me, no announce.
Okay.
Thank you.
Table settings have been set.
7 deuce suited here for Leonard on the button.
So look, worst hand in poker, but it's suited. So do we want to proceed with a limp or a raise?
Call.
He does come with a limp, and Martirosian finds Queen Jack.
Strong enough to raise if he so chooses. But always good to have some strong hands in your checking range, of course, as well.
9-3-3 with a couple of clubs.
Check.
Martirosian checks.
I mean, these guys are just so studied, so careful, so meticulous, and balanced, really. I mean, again, I hope these guys play heads up for a long time so we can see the gauntlet of play from each. Because we've just seen Artur kind of get run over by the deck so far. So I'd really love to see when both players have nothing, Donnie, rather than just one guy is just smashing. But obviously, Queen High going to continue with overcards here when you check. No club for either player. That could be something to watch for. Notice how Artur has picked up a straight draw. Patrick Leonard with only 7 high here, no club in his hand. Leonard also knowing he's going to get called by a wide range of holdings on the flop. King highs, queen highs, ace highs. Just one club with a high card in your hand. This is a spot where Artur could check, go for a bluff catch, maybe even a check raise. His hand could be worth a check raise, but he might just value bet himself here. Now, I just don't think he's going to get called by much.
That looks like full pot to me.
Basically targeting a 9 or an 8. Leonard had one of those.
Well, this is the ball.
Patrick saying, "I play the board." Yes. So 3-3, 8-9 jack is what Patrick's playing there.
Leonard gets out of the way. Martirosian collects that one. quickly going to run it back through some of these locations. We got England, Cleveland, Ohio, the North Pole, but that's obviously a lie. Australia from the Ghoul 89. Thank you. He's also
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
He's also a YouTube community member, so shout out to you, sir. Jamaica, North Carolina, Tennessee, Newcastle, UK, just south of
I just pulled the
Tacoma,
blind.
Michigan. As expected, a very, very international crowd here for the World Series of Poker on PokerGo. Don't forget to hit that like button. We have not yet hit 1,000, guys, okay? Not yet hit 1,000. Also, quickly, on the plan for today, once this match finishes, there's going to be a break. We don't know how long that's going to take. We don't know how long this match is going to take. But then we will come back later. It will be Tristan and I once again for the final match. Aliaksei Boika is guaranteed to be in there. He beat David Chen earlier. So we are just trying to see who's going to take on Boika for the bracelet for the $500,000 first place prize.
What's up, my people in the chat? You guys know the phrase, never miss a Sunday.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
It's Sunday, baby. This is the biggest day for poker.
It is pretty fitting that never miss a Sunday from Pads, and he's playing on Sunday, right?
Yeah. But look, if you're a poker pro, I don't know how many Sundays I've missed in my life. Not many. I mean, I've missed weddings, I've missed birthdays, I've missed parties, like whatever. Like, Sunday is poker day. Typically online, but here we're at the WSOP. And here we go. Big hand, nice pair on the button.
60K is the raise from Leonard with those sevens. Martirosian comes along with King 9.
See, I'm really curious if we have to break down the 20 stacks that Artur has gotten to have. Will that change? You know, he's trying to keep his stacks in 20.
Check.
Queen 7-6, middle set for Pads.
Yum, yum.
Okay.
100,000 from Leonard. Quick fold from Martirosian.
You know, and that's part of the luck there too. You make a set, your opponent needs to have something to continue with. I'm sure if Artur had a diamond, King 9 with a diamond, maybe he would have considered.
Cards.
I can't.
Cards.
We'll use them all.
Who do we got rooting for? Who you guys rooting for in chat? We got Artur here, you know, 41st on the all-time live money list with 25 million. He's going to surpass, you know, maybe 40th now with this cash. And then Patrick Leonard, online extraordinaire. Almost 4 million in cashes. He's going to have over 4 million after
60.
this cash, actually. So who you guys rooting for,
60.
Pads
60,000 is the bet.
or Artur? I'm sure Pad's got to have some fans in here. He's got a lot of fans out there, right?
Of course he does. Yeah, drop the player you're rooting for in the chat, whether you're on PokerGo or on the PokerGo YouTube channel. Let us know. Are you on Team Artur or are you Team Pads?
Too much. Okay, yeah. We got 60K in the middle. Two big blinds. Diamonds dominated.
Six, 3-3. Martirosian pulling ahead with that flop. Connects with two pair.
Leonard plays a check, and with these hands, you need to start betting them for value one and protection. You want to deny equity from overcards. Maybe there's some checking here too, but I feel like this is probably a good one to bet. You have backup with diamonds, you have backup with a 4 or 5.
60,000.
And Leonard facing a small bet, naturally he has is an easy continue. Overcards, 3 to a flush. Could even do some bluff raising here, but the problem with bluff raising these type of hands is you might not get an ace high to fold, a king high to fold. You're going to be up against some flush draws and stuff. So I feel like you play a lot of calls here.
Oh,
Well, there is the call from Leonard. 240,000 out there now. Off to the turn. It's the king of spades.
since ranges are so wide heading into the turn, we'll see how Artur wants to navigate, because is he going to deem his hand worthy of a value bet still, knowing that pads is going to float with, like, let's say 8-9 of diamonds on the flop, or even a hand like, you know, 10-9 with a club could call the flop. But we see a quick check back by Artur.
Deuce of spades comes in on the end. Martirosian's 2-pair remains the best hand.
There are some king highs in pads flop calling range, but I don't expect pads to turn this into a bluff. Surely your 3s and 6s with a king kicker worthy of some kind of wager.
$80,000 is the bet.
80,000. Third pot.
And pads just beats nothing. Like if Artur has nothing, right? Like 4-5 makes a straight. So it looks like he might look him up here.
He does pay it off with queen high. He's going to see the bad news. Martirosian tables the winner.
And that seems like a crazy call, but if you don't think your opponent's going to play an ace high to value bet on the river there, he has all the middling stuff that just doesn't connect. Like 10-5, you know, any other hand you could think of that's in between.
Yeah, 10-5, 10-9, 10-8, stuff like that. You know, all
7-8.
all slightly lower than what pads has.
Yeah. Jack highs, 10 highs, 9 highs. You could argue, you know, Archer's not going to have a king to check back. Yeah. Anyway, looks crazy when you see a queen high make a call, but in heads up, it's fine.
So pads dinged there. Now back to 827,000. Excuse me. Martirosian pushing 4 million once again.
And one other thing to note, there is a small bet size on the river. It prices in bluff catching. It prices in hero calls. So, you know, if pads faced a bigger bet there, the range is split differently and your pot odds are changed dramatically. So you see a lot more hero calling in those small bet scenarios.
Check.
Queen Jack 8 here on the flop, favorable for Martirosian. He's got a pair of jacks with a gut shot straight draw.
Check.
Pads making a pair on the turn. Could it be troublesome?
45,000.
Already kind of uncomfortable here with bottom pair, given how draw heavy the board is. But he does beat the 9x and 10x bluffs. He does beat the current flush draw bluffs, if all those exist. 5, 6, 6, 7, although he blocked some of that himself. And this run out might lose Patrick Leonard some money here, unless he can make a fold when faced with a bet. Now let's see, there are some 8x in Patrick's range, so this looks like he'll probably just go check, check, Donnie.
Check.
It does go check, check. Jack announced from Martirosian.
Notice I slamming the card down there.
Yeah, lines are up. 20,000, 40,000.
All right, so, you know, interesting check there. Makes sense. Patrick could have an 8. Not the best river to value bet. It was 80s music, Donnie, so of course we got guys from that
from
started
the 80s,
poker
right?
from the 80s, right?
You guys heard me earlier say that if you want to watch the entire World Series of Poker, you need to be a PokerGo subscriber. Daily WSOP main event broadcasts are included in that. Use the promo code WSOP25YT for $20 off your first year of a new annual plan. That also works if you want to upgrade. If you are currently a monthly or a quarterly subscriber, you can upgrade to annual. And all annual subscribers will be entered to win a dream seat to possibly play in the PGT $1 Million Championship.
Sick.
So that's the benefit there. Subscribe to PokerGo over at PokerGo.com.
If I run out of time bank pre, it's just check, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. I was thinking of that question.
Just to make sure.
Yes. Yes.
If you're facing a bet, obviously it's a fold.
Yeah.
Jack 9 for Leonard, 8-7 for Martirosian. They go to a flop. It's ace 6-3.
So I feel like these are probably good flops for Artur to start betting, as we do see, right? Like you have 8 high, you have some backup, you have a club draw. You can turn a 5, a 9, a 10, a club. So yeah, pretty natural there.
I'm glad you asked that. I'm thinking it myself.
Notice we got all the players coming in behind. If you see the audience, we have the 600 WSOP event going on the side. We have the 10K 8 or better restarting in the same room, I believe. And these guys just casually playing heads up for their chance to go to the finals in the midst of everything else going on in there.
Lines are 20,000, 40,000 now. So Leonard is sub 20 big blinds. And here he finds Queen Jack on the button.
40K
Comes with a
big
call.
blind, yeah,
Yep.
40K. It's up there. This is moving.
Check.
Big flop for Patrick Leonard here with top pair.
40.
Bets the
40.
minimum.
40.
Yeah, he just throws one chip out. So that makes sense that it's a minimum bet. But in other tournaments, that might be a problem. if we just saw the 600 no limit guys just throwing out one chip, it would not always mean the minimum, depending what denomination you throw out. Man, I love the World Series, Donnie. It's so awesome to be here with
750.
you in the booth and just being able to play and see everybody. It's really, as much as you want to win and try to be a legend and make WSOP history yourself, it's just so awesome to be a part of it in some capacity. So man, I'm happy to be here. Happy that yeah, we're cooking. Patrick here with one of these hands that probably just wants to shove pre-flop. I don't think he really wants to set mine. There's already 80,000 out there. It's a 1/10 of his stack,
750.
and that's effectively what he does.
Is that everything? 7.
I mean, you know how the WSOP is. You've been covering the WSOP, now working with the WSOP the last decade or so, a little less, right? So what's your favorite part of the series every time the summer rolls around?
I don't really think I have a specific favorite part. It really is just, it's being in it. I mean, this is the greatest tournament series in the world. It's where the entire poker community just descends upon and just tries to chase their dreams, tries to win bracelets, you know, tries to win a boatload of money, whatever it may be. It's just incredible just to be here. Like every year, you're kind of just stacking another chapter in the history book. So there's not really one specific thing. It's just overall, like if you love poker, if you love poker history, like I very much do, like this is where you want to be. This is what you know you want to be doing. As we see, Martirosian here is going to get this jam through.
Yeah, well said. Any person who's introduced to poker, I feel like the World Series of Poker is always the calling for everybody. Like, I need to get out to the World Series. I need to play the main event, or I need to go play some other events. So I definitely feel your sentiments there.
And listen, you know, I understand. I'm very blessed to be here and be able to be in it every single day, right? You know, I think it's also great that PokerGO is able to bring it to, you know, the people out there through doing daily streaming and try and bring the fans that, you know, maybe you aren't able to come here, or maybe you're not coming here for the whole summer. You're just going to maybe take a week, maybe a couple days, an extended weekend, whatever it is. But you still get to tune in every single day and watch the action unfold. So, you know, really is a community effort here.
Yeah. Shout out to PokerGO. I mean, again, thank you for everyone who's out there. Thank you, PokerGO, for putting this kind of stuff on. And then we got other advancements this year, too. We got the WSOP Plus app. That seems to be running really well. From what I've heard in the fields, people have really liked it. It's awesome to...
Well, you've played and played with it. So, I mean, how was it like?
Yeah, it's
registering, and you just, you know, you click a couple buttons. You don't have to go to a cage, wait in a super long line. I mean, you do have to do the verification process, yes, but after that, I mean, I've been talking on the PokerGO podcast that I haven't heard that many complaints, other than like that first day when people were like, oh, I got to wait in this long line, you know, whatever. I mean, also, you guys could have shown up 2 weeks ago and done it ahead of time.
Look, when it comes to the WSOP, you're always going to have people complaining about something. And the WSOP people who run, they know. But look, it's so hard to organize and manage and execute that it's very hard to run this operation. But when it comes to the WSOP Plus app, it is very easy. I got to register with a credit card. Apparently, there's no foreign transaction fees at the moment. So, you know, hey, you get some bonus points for your credit card. So, yeah, I registered.
That's not right.
Yeah, I'm bottom.
Here we go. It's a little interesting because your seat assignments are now through the app. So nobody ever hands you a ticket anymore or a receipt. It's all in the app. Even when they move your table, you get it gets pushed to your app. You have to show your app to the dealer when you come to a new table. But yeah, it was easy to get verified. Anyone who's coming out to WSOP, you're gonna have to download the WSOP Plus app. You're gonna have to get verified. And hold up, we have possibly an all-in confrontation here. These are two monster hands, heads up.
And notice Martirosian comes with a limp, and Leonard now finds ace jack suited. Sub 20 big blinds for Leonard to start this hand.
Yeah, both players are just imagining ways to get all the money in here. And notice Patrick with a 3x trying to entice a call at least.
And there is the limp jam from Martirosian. Leonard's going to check his cards and make the call.
And he just, you know, Patrick hates to see it. Martirosian would limp here with any ace and jam any ace. He would jam like Jack 10 suited potentially, stuff like that Leonard dominates. So this is a very unfortunate cooler right now. But let's see if Leonard can get lucky himself, as Artur has Patrick on the ropes to go to the final two.
If Martirosian wins this hand, he will go on to face Aliaksei Boika in the final. If Patrick Leonard comes from behind here, we will fight on in this semifinal. Let's see a flop. King 10-6, rainbow and no diamonds present, so no backdoor flush possible for Leonard. He's looking for a queen.
The board double pairs they could chop, but that's in a far future ahead.
Deuce of spades on the turn. Leonard is down to the river card. Needs to find a mamacita.
Yeah, he needs a mamacita, exactly, Donnie.
6 of hearts on the end, and that's going to do it. Patrick Leonard eliminated here. Artur Martirosyan has punched his ticket to the final, and he is going to take on Aliaksei Boika for the gold bracelet and $500,000 first place prize. Leonard finishes in third place. He's going to collect $180,000.
I mean, it just doesn't get any smoother for Artur there. I mean, he had Patrick the whole time. Patrick ran one time ran a bluff for 4x pot right into basically the second nuts. So kudos to Artur. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that.
And I believe now we are going to go out to Natalie Bodie, who's got some stuff for us on the matches. Again, it is Artur Martirosyan, who has punched his ticket through to the final. He's going to meet with Aliaksei Boika coming up later today. The final match is going to take place starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time for the live stream. Again, Tristan Wade and myself will return for that. There you see Martirosyan talking with PGT Commissioner Tim Duckworth. He's trying to figure things out.
See, we need the audio. Where's the behind the scenes? I need the
I don't
mic
want to
up.
hear Tim's voice. Okay, so
No,
we don't need that Aussie accent on here.
Come on. Oh, we got an interview with Patrick right there. Poor guy. I mean, look, legend. That just was not his day.
Yeah, when he watches this back, I mean, he's going to see how well Martirosyan ran. I mean, not that it's easy to beat Martirosyan anyway, but we're going to hear from him right now with our own Natalie Bodie.
Here alongside Patrick, obviously, like I just mentioned to you, been a grueling few days. How did you see it play out today with Artur?
Yeah, it's a tough match. He plays very good, very aggressive. You kind of need to have good hands against him. Didn't really feel like I had too many good hands. I had ace-queen one hand, and I'm not sure what he had against me. That was a big pot, probably like a critical pot of the game. He raised, I re-raised, he called. It was Jack 10-10. I bet, he raised, I called. The turn was a 9. I checked, he bet big, I called. The river was a 5. I checked, he went all in, and I folded. So yeah, if he bluffed me then well done to him. That was kind of the critical hand of the tournament. I lost half my stack there. Then after then, I didn't have any time banks left. And I was just like kind of waiting for some good spots. Ended up getting a very good hand, and he just had a slightly better hand to finish off. But yeah, he's a great player, and hope he goes on to win. So.
With this event specifically, you know, to an extent, poker is poker, of course, but I do think it requires something extra mentally. How would you describe the focus that this event requires?
In a normal tournament, you kind of like, there's ups and downs, but there's a lot of just like times where you're out of hands. In this tournament, every hand, you're either up or you're down. So if you imagine like a chart of your tournament progression, it's literally like this the whole time, or it could just be like this and then this, and it's very, it's not very, you don't really have much time to breathe. You're reacting to what's ever happening, but yeah, that's the most grueling part of it, I would say.
How do you prepare for an event like this?
Well, every opponent I had kind of a different plan for. Last night I watched a lot of footage that he'd played. Maratha's had so many wins and second places, so there's a lot of footage to watch him play heads up to get an idea of how he plays. And I thought I had an idea of how he was going to be when he was shuffling his chips, and then for the first 5 hands he didn't touch his chips at all. And every single hand I've watched him play in the history of his career, he's been shuffling chips.
Wow.
So my plan was completely out the window, so I just abandoned that. So yeah, that was... Yeah, sometimes you can plan for something and then you just can't use it. So.
Got to adapt on the fly. Well, love it. Appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Great run at it,
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you for that, Natalie. Thank you for that, Patrick Leonard. As I mentioned, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Tristan Wade and myself, Donnie Peters. We will be back then for the final. It's Aliaksei Boika versus Artur Martirosyan. $500,000 and the gold bracelet up for grabs. We'll see you soon, everyone.